Prague real estate prices feel expensive to almost everyone right now. According to recent data, it now takes over 15 average annual salaries to buy an apartment here, the highest number in Central Europe. And if you're thinking about buying with a mortgage, you are likely to subsidize more than a third of the mortgage payment out of pocket. The average price per square meter has reached over 150,000 Czech crowns. That's the highest it's ever been. And since the prices feel so high right now, many of my clients have been actually asking, are the prices going to go down? And if so, when? Should I wait or buy now? These are great questions and I've been thinking about them a lot myself. And to answer them properly, we need to look at the key factors driving today's high prices and ask whether any of them are likely to change in the near future. Let's dive in. Let's start with the most fundamental and long-term issue behind high prices in Prague, which is limited housing supply. Now, when you look around Prague, places like Smíchov, Karlín, or near Kolbenova metro station, it might actually seem there's a lot of construction happening. But here's the catch, those projects got their permits years ago. What you're seeing now is just the final phase of developments that were approved long before. In reality, 2025 marks the lowest number of building permits issued in the past 26 years. One of the key reasons is the attempt to digitize the building permit process, which has frankly been a complete disaster. The system is still chaotic, slow, and unclear. Thanks a lot, Pirate Party. As a result, permit issuance is incredibly slow, and this mess isn't going away quickly. It's going to affect new development for years to come. But it's not just about the digital system. Prague also has strict height limits, especially in central districts, so you can't build tall buildings at all, even in places where it would make sense. And on the city's edges, where you'd think there's room to grow, rigid zoning regulations make it nearly impossible to get new areas approved for residential use. Developers are actually eager to build, there's demand after all, but in many cases they simply can't find legal or viable land. And if they do, it takes years to get through the permit maze. All of this means one thing: supply isn't catching up and it's unlikely to catch up anytime soon. And when supply is limited, even a small increase in demand can push prices up fast. And that brings us to the next factor, growing demand. Both domestic migration and foreign migration are pushing the city's population higher every year. Right now, Prague has about 1.3 million inhabitants, but projections show that by 2050, that number could reach 1.6 million. That's an increase of around 300,000 people. A big part of that growth will come from foreign immigration. Today, just over 25% of Prague's population is made up of foreigners. But that number is expected to grow significantly. Some projections estimate that by 2050, up to half of Prague's residents could be foreigners. And all of these people will need a place to live, whether they rent or buy, which means even more pressure on the already tight housing market. So even if interest rates fluctuate temporarily, the long-term demand trend is clear. More people, same limited space. And speaking of mortgages, let's talk about how they will be influencing the market. As of mid-2025, mortgage rates in the Czech Republic are still higher than in the Eurozone, averaging around 4.9% compared to roughly 3.5% in Eurozone countries. But rates in the Czech Republic have been steadily, though slowly, declining. This slow decline is already causing a slight increase in mortgage demand, which was quite high to begin with, especially among first-time buyers and young families. But there's something many people don't realize. Over half of property transactions in Prague today are done in cash without any financing. These are often wealthy individuals with significant cash reserves or institutional investors who aren't dependent on mortgage rates at all. This cash-driven segment of the market creates a constant level of demand that isn't really affected by interest rate fluctuations. And as long as this group continues to buy, and they are, it's going to keep upward pressure on property prices, regardless of what's happening with mortgages. Alright, we've covered the main factors driving prices: limited supply, growing demand, and mortgage trends. But there's one more supporting factor worth mentioning, and that is Prague's reputation as a safe and stable place to invest. The city has an exceptionally low crime rate, making it one of the safest large cities in Europe. It also benefits from low unemployment, a strong legal system, and a growing number of international job opportunities, all of which attract long-term residents and investors. Prague's property market has also shown strong resilience during past crises. During the global financial crisis in 2008, prices in Prague dropped by only around 15% and then quickly recovered and started growing again, much faster than in many other cities. That kind of stability is especially attractive to long-term investors who aren't chasing quick profits. They're looking for asset protection, steady rental income, and capital preservation. And with very low property and rental income taxes, holding real estate here is also cost-effective. So while this isn't the main driver of high prices, it still adds to the overall resilience and long-term appeal of Prague property market. So to sum it all up, unless we experience some kind of major global shock, like a global financial crisis or war, it's very unlikely that Prague real estate prices will decrease in the coming months or even years. So if you're planning to buy property in Prague, now is really as good time as any to start. In my opinion, prices will either stabilize or continue climbing, so there's not much reason to wait. That said, many public listings are still overpriced, even in today's competitive market. So if you want to make sure you know what you're buying and want your property professionally analyzed, feel free to reach out. And if you've already found a property you like, we can accompany you to the viewing, analyze the property, and provide a detailed report with all key information you need to make an informed decision. All for a fixed fee. In today's market, acting fast is key, and we track new listings every single day. So if you're serious about buying in Prague and want expert guidance, don't hesitate to get in touch. All of our contact information is in the description of this video. And if you found this video helpful, please like, subscribe, and stay tuned for more insights on the Prague property market. See you in the next one.